Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV. This then looking at the latest Famitsu interview over at Famitsu's website. You'll find the source of this, of course, and all their hard work linked in the description. I don't take any credit from this. We're just reading through this and sort of analyzing this and sharing it with other people. So this, of course, is an interview with Yoshi P during the FanFest Tokyo, all about Dawntrail and what we have to expect in both 6.55, 6.57 and 6.58, as well as Dawntrail itself. So very excited to read this one. This was my first time reading it, so let's get straight to it. So obviously FanFest Tokyo was at the Tokyo Dome, and they had a chance to sit down with Yoshi P, which is really cool. Of course, Yoshi P, Naoki Yoshida, the director and executive officer at Square Enix, director of Third Development Business Headquarters, Creative Business Unit 3. So they say, it's been a long time since you held a fan festival in real life and toured the world. Please tell us your honest thoughts after the first day in Tokyo. So this was on the evening of the first day. Yoshi P says, I was really happy to be able to hold a real fan festival for the first time in a while and meet all of the Warriors of Light from all over the world in person. The number of people you can meet in person at a fan festival is limited overall, but it's a blessing to the developers to have that so many people play the game and come from far away to have fun. Don't run out. I honestly feel happy about that. I think this is a translation error. Sorry about that. Google for you. At the same time, I believe that the reason we have been able to overcome the extremely difficult coronavirus pandemic and come this far is thanks to the dedicated efforts of medical workers around the world to overcome the situation. I came here with a renewed sense of gratitude to all of you and with the intention of making the fan festival even more exciting. Being able to work in such a big place at the milestone of 10 years since our founding was one of the best memories of my life as a developer. I'm still left over from the chaotic second day, but that's how it is for now. They say, please tell us why you chose Pictomancer as your new job. Could it be that Kururu and Rimuru from Final Fantasy, I didn't know that was their Japanese names, from 6 have had similar images? Yoshi P says, no, it wasn't because the images were close. When she thought about the growth and emotional state of the character Krul, so Kryl, I think she also wanted to go to the front lines with the Scions of the Seventh Dawn members and the Warriors of Light. In order to respond to her feelings, she had wanted to change her job and put her on the front lines. But in Finale of Dawn, so yeah, she had the whole role of synchronizing with veins. Okay. Because of that, she thought, if I were to change Kryl's job, it would be 7.0. So she made Kryl a Pictomancer this time. We have a lovely artwork of Kryl looking very happy with a paintbrush. This looks awesome, by the way. I'm excited. Next, the reason why we decided on Pictomancer job is when adding a new job, we first think about the role and not the job. When we wanted players to play a variety of jobs, we thought about what kind of roles we could add to make the whole experience more exciting, matchmaking faster, and a more stable and enjoyable way to play Final Fantasy XIV. So I decided to start with that role. Among these roles, DPS, which focuses on attacks, is by far the most popular, and when implementing multiple jobs in an expansion package, one cannot be left out. Furthermore, we have added new jobs for tanks and healers so far, and the numbers are balanced just right, so we decided to add both jobs this time as DPS. If one is a melee DPS, i.e. the Viper, I think the other has to be a ranged DPS. On top of that, we look into consideration the expectations of players around the world, and we thought that this would be the best way to bring out the fun and artistic appeal of the Pictomancer. We didn't decide on Pictomancer from the beginning, but it was mentioned as one of the strong candidates, and we started brainstorming ideas to see if drawing could be replaced with an attack. From there, I decided that it would be easy to give shape to it, and now bringing it to life. If you look at the picture and wonder if Realm and Kryl were planned to synchronize from the beginning, I think that's proof that they worked well as a team. The first day's stage event was what the development team wants to say, but the reason we've been able to make it through 10 years since Final Fantasy XIV was reborn is because everyone has brought together various seeds, ideas, and thin lines. I believe that this is a result of the team's strength, as we have repeatedly tied them together into a single rope. What an incredible statement there. I love that. And there's the artwork for both of them there, which you can click on and make bigger. There's also that artwork available on the special site if you wanted high-resolution versions. Next, they say, what points did you focus on during the development of the newly implemented female Hrothgar and the new NPC, Okramat? I think that's the Japanese bad translation here on Google. Yoshi P says, the story of Golden Legacy is the new beginning of Final Fantasy XIV, and we hope to show players an unprecedented style of expansion that Final Fantasy XIV has many different aspects. I would like to continue doing so. In the new story, you'll be assisting in the race to inherit the throne, but unless the story is about an attractive character helping someone ascend to the throne, it will not be able to move the emotions of the players, and therefore I created a structure based on how to draw the new character, Okramato, in an attractive way, and solidified the core. In addition, Hrothgar was only implemented for men, and we received many requests to add females as well. At the same time, there were a graphics update, so I thought adding a female Hrothgar would be extremely difficult, but the graphics team was so dedicated and said, let's do it, that we were able to make it happen. Therefore, I thought that by combining Urkamat, who will be the main character of the next story, with a female Hrothgar, a new race that is attracting a lot of attention, it will be possible to deeply depict the character's charm, way of thinking, and relationship with the tribe's village. The shape is created by thinking about it and connecting it together. Okamato will appear in the main quest, part 2 of 6.55, which will be released on the 16th of January, which is hype, by the way. But they are a character that has never been seen before, and are deliberately made to be a character that is not perfect from the beginning. Okay, I think her growth will be one of the key words, so I'll be happy if you could pay attention to her. I think I was able to express the kind of charm that would arise if a female Hrothgar race appeared with a personality. So she's not going to be necessarily the character we see in the trailer when we first meet her. I can't wait to meet her. It's going to be awesome. Next, they say, I heard that the main story of Golden Legacy is divided into 2 parts, but will a completely different story develop from the middle? Yoshi P says that is certainly not the case. I'm not sure what to say since it would be a spoiler, but after playing, I think you'll think it's definitely a 2-part story. But 7.0 itself was made to be a single story. I think it's designed to make people think this was a big turning point and a turning point. This time we are taking the challenge of suddenly changing the steering wheel in a single story with changing values, conflicts between characters, and the fate of the world. I'm sorry that I can only tell you the nuances, but I think we'll be able to show you a new side of Final Fantasy XIV. To be honest, Yoshi P says, I'm not completely anxious because I'm trying something new that I haven't done before. But even when I look at what's coming up, my expectations are higher than my anxiety right now. I hope you look forward to the next development of Final Fantasy XIV. So obviously we're promising here something we haven't seen in Final Fantasy XIV story writing and telling. So hopefully they show us something exciting. There's definitely contrast to be drawn immediately from Stormblood. I think most people will be aware of that, so it'll be interesting to see how they challenge that. Next, what kind of user experience are you aiming for in the development of Golden Legacy, such as large-scale battles, interaction between players, and enrichment of quality of life in the game? Yoshi P says, we are currently working on the game in agony. I don't know if that's a right translation there, but as I said earlier, I want people to experience new challenges and new aspects as much as possible. However, I don't think that something new is necessarily justice. No matter what game you introduce, if you introduce a new system that people say is boring, it's worthless, right? So first of all, I hit the right notes and created a solid baseline that I can feel at ease and feel the same quality as before. On top of that, our goal this time is to develop things that give people a sense of newness and raise the quality of each product. 10 years ago in August 2013, wow, is it really 10 years? That's crazy. We launched A Realm Reborn. This time, we're taking on the challenge as if it was a second rebirth. However, compared to the new players at that time, we have gained far more experience. So we believe we can deliver a game experience that is 3 or 4 times more solid. Please look forward to that. Wow. So they're seeing Dawntrail as a second rebirth. That's a really unique look. That's big praise. Big expectations are going to come from that. Next, they say, in the 10 years since the launch of A Realm Reborn, a variety of game designs have been made, including skills, jobs, bosses, and gimmicks. We continue to provide players with fresh surprises and fun, but where do those design ideas come from? Please let me know if there are any precautions you take to avoid running out of ideas. That's a good question. HP says, where ideas come from is a question that is difficult to answer in a few words. When it comes to the games of this sort of scale, it's difficult to say everything in one word: game design. First of all, as a director, I am in charge of steering the entire game, such as this is the world we'll be tackling next, this is the theme that we should appeal to, and this is the kind of feeling we should deliver to the players. I'm the type of director who gives a lot of discretion to each person in charge, and I leave things like creating the story, arranging the content, and designing the game for the content to the staff themselves. Of course, I also do a preliminary check through brainstorming when the plan is finalized, and then check again when the specifications are finalized. From there, we check what has been provisionally implemented on the actual machine, what has been balanced, and we go through the process to check it in detail. But everything is fine as long as it's interesting. What the Final Fantasy XIV development team has always done is, we'll all work on the balance, so let's just make something that we think is interesting. Oh, that's cool. So balance isn't necessarily the forefront of it, it's to make something new and original. Yeah. We also try to use new staff as much as possible when creating something interesting. The third development business headquarters has an uplifting spirit, and there are people who join as part-timers and are working as sub-leaders 3 years later. Age doesn't matter, and I think being able to create something really interesting with a firm sense of cost and with the support of a variety of people is truly a rare talent. In order to take advantage of the ideas and opportunities of these people, we have given support from our seniors to give shape to them, and this may be one of the reasons why we always feel new and fresh. I also think that if I had started making Final Fantasy XIV thinking that it was just an MMORPG, I might have run out of ideas. This is where I feel really fortunate that it's a work called Final Fantasy. There are still many Japanese developers, especially the core generation of our development team, who grew up playing home game consoles rather than MMOs. Furthermore, the challenge of what to do when trying to turn an idea obtained from a home game console into an MMO has surprisingly not been realized in the MMO industry. When thinking about how to express the seeds of a project such as what would we do if it was Final Fantasy instead of an online game, or what would be fun to do as a new Final Fantasy in an MMO, we were inspired by Final Fantasy XIV. I think this is a strength. I guess that's the secret to not running out of ideas. The development staff for Final Fantasy XIV are truly gamers, and if a great console game comes out around the world, it will lead our ideas. This includes not only games, but also anime and manga. I think this is a good thing about the 14 dev team, so I want to continue working with them. Well, we're glad about that. They're amazingly talented people. That's really quite interesting, isn't it, to pull apart that they kind of look at it as a Final Fantasy game more than an MMO, and that helps. I suppose they're right. Think about other MMOs and the inspirations they draw on. Probably not. They probably don't have as much, right? I don't know. Next question. 10 years after its launch, 14 has become one of the most popular MMORPGs. Do you think you were able to grow Final Fantasy XIV into a culture from A Realm Reborn to Golden Legacy? Okay. Yoshi says, I don't have a great sense of culture. We're just continuing to make games, and it feels like we're continuing to create parks where people from all over the world can gather and play together. As a result of being played all over the world, it is sometimes said to be a success story of the metaverse, but I don't really feel that way. Final Fantasy XIV is a game and entertainment, and although it's a turning point in its 10th anniversary, I think it is still a passing point. By the way, I sometimes hear people say, there is so much content that I can't play it all. But I think the feeling of I can't play it all is because I can see the end in sight. I want to create a world where you don't feel like you have to play everything, that you can start any time and take a break and have as much fun no matter when you come home. Therefore, neither I nor the team need clean, formal words. I'll do my best to make it interesting and enjoyable. Yeah, that is a good take, honestly. If you get bored of a game, you can play other games. They want people to enjoy it as a game and less of an extra job on top of what you do in the day. There are definitely things that are more strenuous than others, but that's a good mantra to have for an MMO. It makes it so much more accessible, even though there's a lot of content. Next, please tell us about the story of the content that will be released in 6.55 on January the 16th. Yoshi P says, I think the main scenario part 2 that was implemented in X55 is so far had a relatively simple impression, but this time we wanted to portray the charm of the character Ukramato, so the new Rothgal introduced for Dawntrail. So it'll take about 2 hours to play normally. The above is made so that you can play it properly. The interactions between the characters are also interesting, and I think I can show off my comical side as well. Also, the sub-story quest, The Return of Hildebrand, will be completed in 6.55. I would like you to pay attention to whether they will disappear again, even though they have just returned, and what will the fate be of Branderhild, right? Yeah, Branderhild, also known as Low Poly Hildy. Please look forward to the final part of Hildy, which is full of stupidity and even retakes. Okay, after patch 6.55, patches will continue intermittently with patches 6.57 and 6.58, so I hope you enjoyed a variety of content we have until 7.0. And of course, they're talking also April for, I think it was April for the 16 crossover, right? Next question. How did the fans react to the new announcements regarding Golden Legacy? Yoshi P says, I don't think anyone expected the saga of Hydaelyn and Zodiac would come to a conclusion so neatly with Akatsuki no finale. That play experience was cathartic because I was able to end a story that had been going on for a long time since A Realm Reborn. Within the development team, we often liken it to dominoes. And now that we've knocked down all of the dominoes on the first try, the starting point for 7.0 will be to line up the second one. However, I think that there are people who want even more climaxes after experiencing such a climax. In that case, where will the end of the universe go next? But I want to reset that and show that strength is not the only thing we have to fight for. Okay, yeah. Golden Legacy is the first step in that direction, so I think there is a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. We would like to share information to increase expectations, but of course, we can't give away spoilers right away. After showing off the image of a relaxing adventure in a natural terrain at the fan festival in Las Vegas and London, this time in Tokyo, we're able to show you something completely different that defies expectations in a good way. I think it is. As for everyone's reactions to it, I haven't been able to follow it in depth due to my busy schedule, but from what I've seen, I get the feeling that people are looking forward to various elements in a very positive manner. The development team, advertising team, and community team have all worked together to create 3 fan festivals, so I'm pretty satisfied with them right now. Of course, I'll do my best to avoid any accidents on my second day as well. Holy moly. In the friendly tribe introduction image, I'm curious about the alpaca that appears next to the Pel tribe. Will it appear as a mount? Yoshi P says alpacas are very popular within the development team, and the reason for this is that the fur shader that was finally implemented this time, a shader that expresses the coat, is being used to its fullest, he laughs. Naturally, since it's such a beloved creature, it will probably run across the land carrying the Warrior of Light, and I think it will also fly through the sky. I can't wait to see that. Aside from progressing through the main story, is there anything I should do before playing Golden Legacy? That's a great option. A great question. Yoshi P says, not there. This is always a concept, but if you have to do something because an expansion is coming, it's fine while you're immersed, but when you're tired, it suddenly becomes difficult. If there are a lot of things that need to be done, the motivation for the expansion may decrease. So this time as well, we don't have to prepare anything just because the expansion is coming. It's okay too. As you know, item level changes greatly when the level cap is lifted, so there is no problem even if your equipment is half-baked. Great. You can collect equipment just by doing main quests and side quests, and we are making it so you can enjoy it as a completely new RPG without having to follow advanced information. So this is my answer as a director, but from my perspective as a producer, I would like to ask those who are currently on hiatus and are thinking of returning with Golden Legacy to reunite with their friends or to use the current system. In order to get used to it, we would appreciate it if you could slowly accumulate your body, not just for a month, but for 2 or 3 months beforehand. Well, there we go. Come back to the game, play the game, enjoy the game, get ready for the expansion. What are your plans for the next 10 years of Final Fantasy XIV? Well, that's a big question. Also, maybe 20 or 30 years from now, do you ever think about handing over management, such as when you retire or when there is a generational change? Wow. Yoshi P says, as I mentioned earlier, the first domino toppling was a great and enjoyable experience, so now I feel like I want to line up and stack the dominoes one by one. In my mind, I have 2 or 3 plans for development after 8.0, so I think I can continue to be in charge of a project until about 9.0 without running out of ideas. However, I think that telling the staff too much about the future would actually make things worse, so it's only in my head. First of all, I'm going to do my best in the now, and then move forward while adjusting the steering toward the future development that I have in mind. I hope that you can continue to enjoy sailing with us on the ship that Final Fantasy XIV is, with peace of mind. I've said that Final Fantasy XIV is my life's work, so as long as I'm involved in the game industry, I think I'll do everything I can with Final Fantasy XIV. On the other hand, this is just an example, but even if I were to die, he says, the Final Fantasy XIV would be fine. Team would be fine. There may not be someone like me who can present on stage at Tokyo Dome for 2 hours talking about the next expansion, but a current team is definitely capable of delivering the same kind of excitement and information. The same goes for game design and direction. I've only lightly talked about the direction I'm currently thinking to a few people, and there are people who are gradually taking over my functions and taking charge of them. Even if I were to go down, we would still be able to do the producing part as a team, and I think the game design direction could be handled by just a few people. The only thing that will change is that there will be no more people who want to realize my individuality. But on the other hand, there will be people who are unable to do so because I am a burden to them. And this is also an opportunity for new ideas to emerge. I think so. The Final Fantasy XIV team has grown stronger and more robust than you might think. I think that things are safe for the time being, so please feel free to play with confidence. Even if I retire from a games industry, please don't worry. In that case, I will take on the role of as a player, constantly complaining to the development team. He laughs. So even if the day comes where Yoshi P retires, he still wants to be around moaning about things and getting things changed. I don't think this man will ever retire personally, and, you know, let's not talk about death and things like that. There's so much future for Final Fantasy XIV, and I really, really think there's lots of great ideas in that man's head that need to be realized. So I can't wait to see what happens in the future. This was a really good interview. Again, this will be linked in the description. Things to take from this, that obviously it's interesting to see how they planned for Pictomanta, and it wasn't directly just, oh, let's just put Realm in the game. It's much more detailed than that. The thought process of the balance recently being realized, and so they decided on 2 DPS, things like that, and the storyline, and, you know, the hype up of the female Hrothgar and how they are going to develop things with a graphical update. Really cool stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. And of course, traditionally, this is in Japanese. We use Google Translate, so if there are any errors, of course, that's my own fault by using Google, but there wasn't any translation currently available at the time of recording when I started record, so things might be different. And if you want to correct anything, please feel free to comment in the comment section. I'll pin anything that to corrects anything major that I've messed up here. But yeah, there we go. Thank you so much. There's lots of videos to come out, lots of impressions, lots of things to talk about, as well as 6.55 very soon. Much love, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.